Selling online can make you wealthy, but you must first familiarize yourself with internet law, legislation covering things like trademarks and patent, the creation of websites, customer privacy, and children's protection can have a sweeping impact on your online business. Once you've accessed your online business idea and have a plan for launching your startup, make sure you research regulations and restrictions that could affect your e-business. Understanding these issues before you start operating will help you plan wisely and save you money, energy, and time. In today's show, we reveal 12 online business laws you must know for internet selling, whether the sale occurs through an online store or through a direct provision of products and services. Keep in mind, though, that the information provided in today's program, along with the regulations around it, is constantly changing. So you need to keep up with legislation in your particular niche. Stay tuned. Welcome, folks, to another edition of Sweet Q. How you doing today? I hope you are doing fantastic because I'm doing marvelous. If you are doing marvelous, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or even better, vodka. Let's roll. Today we want to talk about 12 online business laws you must know for internet selling. This is very important. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty here, let me give a quick shout out to our millions of fans and listeners and viewers throughout the world, specifically in North America. And in particular here, we have Finley Doyle in Siston, South Dakota, Ruben Richardson in Ipswich, South Dakota, and Toby Holland in Melbourne, South Dakota. So Finley, Ruben, and Toby in South Dakota. We love you. Thank you very much. Now, the number one online business law you must know covers trademarks, copyrights, and patents. Now, the thing here is that you don't have to know these things, but you have to have a lawyer or a specialist who can advise you on those things, right? Now, there are some common misconceptions about what these words actually means. The United States Patent and Trademark Office defines them as the following. What is a trademark? A trademark is a word, phrase, symbol, and or design that identifies and distinguishes the source of the goods of one party from those of others. Okay? And what is a patent? According to the United States Patent and Trademark Office, a patent is a limited duration property right relating to an invention granted by the United States PTO in exchange for public disclosure of the invention. And what is a copyright? A copyright protects works of authorship such as writings, music, and works of art that have been tangibly expressed. Now, so depending on the product that you want to sell, you may or may not want to apply for one of those products, for one of those concepts. So you want to apply for a trademark, a patent, or a copyright. Now, you have to understand that doing so is not really necessary, but it's better for you to check to make sure you're not infringing on other patents or trademarks with your products or businesses. All right. For instance, let's say you want to sell Disney t-shirts, right? You want to sell t-shirts with Disney characters on them. You are going to run in trouble, right? Because you want to make sure that if you research with the appropriate copyright, patent, or trademark organization, you start realizing that Disney or Disney subsidiaries own the trademark or the copyright to those characters. All right. So this is something you really want to be aware of before you start selling products or services online. The second law you need to know when you want to sell online is sales taxes. Now, first you want to know that every state and country has different expectations and standards when it comes to taxes, right? And in the States, in the United States, we have every state has a different sales tax regimen. So you want to conduct some research and you want to clearly understand your target market, right? So let's say that your audience is in the United States. You will likely want to display your prices exclusive of tax, right? Now, there are other countries in Belgium, Australia, and the UK, shoppers are used to seeing all-inclusive prices, so you want to include taxes. All right. Another thing that you want to talk about, you want to think about here is that you want to be clear about what you're selling and where you're selling it from. For instance, let's say you're located in California and you want to sell apparel, you want to sell clothing. Now, California, clothing is taxed in your state, right? But if you are, for instance, you want to sell to someone in Britain, VAT, value added tax, applies to all non-essential goods. All right. So you really want to sort of think about the sales taxes from the state where you're selling from to the state where you're shipping the product to. Now, this is why, again, that you need to have a tax professional in hand, because this information and the regulations around it is constantly changing. Number 3, financial reporting. Now, financial reporting is an important online business law you need to know. When it comes to accounting norms, in the U.S. we have something called the U.S. GAAP, so United States generally accepted accounting principles. Overseas, internationally, you have something called IFRS. So this is International Financial Reporting Standards. You want to double check and make sure that you are compliant with accounting and tax laws in the jurisdictions where you sell or the jurisdiction where you operate from, right? There might be some local accounting norms. So this is why, again, you want to hire, if possible, a tax professional and an accountant. You want to check the income tax filing and financial accounts to be sent to local authorities, if any, right? Some require, some don't. Be sure to set up your business bank account to keep everything separate from your personal business. This is important when it comes to liability, right? Now, unless you are extremely good at accounting, you want to find a good keeper to record all of your expenses, and you can also hire a CPA who can file your taxes. CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. All right, so those are things you want to really think about, and the thing is that all of these steps will set up a framework that will allow your business to grow effectively over time. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go away. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I hope you are doing fantastic, doing wonderful, and if you are, please again continue drinking that cup of coffee, drinking that coffee or vodka or tea. Let's quickly give a shout out to Jay John in Pinson, Tennessee, and Caleb Lawson in Jonesboro, Tennessee, and Casey Barker in Fayetteville, Tennessee. Thank you so much for your input, for your feedback. We really appreciate it. Now, law number 4, online business law number 4 that you need to know for internet selling: payment gateways. The thing is, you want to know the rules and restrictions and constraints associated with payment gateways, right? Now, there are many payment gateways available for e-commerce business. We live in a globalized world, and people are selling and buying products all over the world. So you have many payment gateways available. Now, the thing here is that there are some prominent ones you want to think about. So PayPal, right? You have Square, Stripe to check out, First Data, QuickBooks Online, and SecureNet. Those are the biggies. Right now, when it comes to that, and other platforms have their own sort of their own gateways, internal gateways. So I'm talking Amazon, eBay, Facebook. They have their own gateways, right? The thing here is that when you're vetting payment gateways, be sure to ask if they have any limitations around certain products. This is very important, because if you're selling products that are a little tricky when it comes to the law, for instance, marijuana or some medication or some children's products, you want to double check that the gateway, the payment gateway, is okay with that, right? You also want to ask the payment gateway whether it is hosted or non-hosted, whether they include anti-fraud features, they require transaction fees, termination fees, setup fees, monthly fees, all that kind of stuff. So you want to do some serious due diligence with the gateway before you commit to them, all right? The law number 6 that you need to know if you're selling online is inventory. Now, if you are going to hold substantial inventory, you should always check your lease, deed, or zoning codes, right? The reason why you want to do this is that in some areas, there might be prohibitions on running a business like the one you're contemplating out of your home. So as long as you do it in your basement or in your living room, there is no problem, right? As soon as you want to get out there and really get a lease, or you want to rent a warehouse or whatever, there might be some restrictions, or prohibitions for that matter. So this is something that you really want to double check. Another thing that is very important is what I call OSHA regulations. OSHA stands for the United States Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA. And this is an important thing, and OSHA really also covers dangerous materials, so hazardous materials. So if your inventory, if you're going to sell some kind of medication or some kind of chemicals, you want to be very clear about OSHA regulations. All right. Number 6, age restrictions. This is critical, folks. Critical. Age restriction covers an important online business law, as specifically something called COPPA. So anytime you launch a website, you gotta know you have to comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPPA. Now, this act includes quite a few regulations, but the most important one is that you don't want to collect any personal info from a child under the age of 13. In some states and some countries around the world, the regulatory age goes to 18. So, if you're planning on selling a product or service that tailors specifically to your young audience, you need to abide by COPPA regulations, right? So the thing here is that check the particular state where you are, and or the particular country where you are, right? Sites, if you want to sell things like alcohol or vapes, you need to have age verification tools before checkout in order to be legally sold, for instance. Another thing you want to do here is that you also want to make sure, and this is very important, on your website to make it clear that the site is restricted to people who are over the majority age. For instance, let's say you want to sell tobacco products, right? You want to put something like, the site is restricted to tobacco consumers being 21 years of age and over only. And the reason why you want to put this is that you want to limit your legal liability should something happen. All right. So do your research and stay on top of legislation to ensure your business is up and running, and keep running and keep making profits. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. I'm still here talking about 12 online business laws you need to know for internet selling. I've already given you 6 laws. I'm going to give you the number 7 now. Just for those who just joined us, the first law related to trademarks, copyrights, and patents. Number 2, sales taxes. Number 3, financial reporting. Number 4, payment gateways. Number 5, inventory. Number 6, age restrictions. Number 7, local laws and regulations. Now, before I talk about that, quickly want to give a shout out to Eric Munoz in North Hills, Pennsylvania, Louis Myers in Duncanville, Pennsylvania, and Kingston Drake in Vinco, Pennsylvania. So Eric Munoz, Willie Myers, and Kingston Drake in Pennsylvania, we love you. Thank you so much. Please, if you love the content so far, consider subscribing to our channel, and we really appreciate it. We drop new shows every single day on a lot of good stuff, a lot of important stuff. Consider liking this particular video if you find it relevant to you so far. Share it with people. We want to share the intellectual wealth around us, and give us your own experience about legalese when it comes to online selling or online regulations when it comes to your particular products or niche. Let us know. We really want to get this conversation going. So number 7, local laws and regulations. Now, even if you sell online, you must abide by laws and regulations in the place where you live, right? So I'm talking here about city laws, state laws. This is very important, because if you are thinking, oh, everything happens online, so I'm not really, I can't be sued offline, you just get it wrong. So It's the last thing you want to do, getting sued for something you did online. So get a lawyer if needed, right? So let me just give you an example. You cannot sell marijuana online or offline for that matter if doing so is illegal in your state. It doesn't matter if it is legal in the states where your client's located. If your state does not allow such commerce, you'll be in trouble if you break the law. Number 8, licenses and permits. This is an important online business law you need to know for internet selling. So continuing on the same vein as in the previous section, you need to get all licenses and permits required to provide services and to provide services and sell products. Now, depending on which product you decide to offer, you may need a specific license to sell it. Now, again, this things depends on the country where you're located, so you want to contact your local or your city local licensing department. Okay, so this is kind of important. Number 9, shipping restrictions. This is another biggie, folks. Very, very, very big. You want to really, really, really pay attention to this. Now, most shipping companies clearly note their restricted items, right? If you want to go with GHL or UPS or USPS or FedEx, you name it, they'll give you a list of restricted items. Not all shippers restrict the same items, so you should have options. That's why you want to do research. You want to do a little research to see if there is a provider that will take on your particular products. Okay, now typically, and this is globally, this is not just in the States, or Canada, or Australia, or New Zealand, or Nigeria, or South Africa, you name it. This is global. Typically, you have authorities place restrictions on the following items: airbags, alcoholic beverages, ammunition, animals, cigarettes, dry ice, perishables, poison, perfumes, nail polish, preservative materials, fresh fruits and vegetables, explosives, of course, right? What airbags? I think I've already said that. So this is just a non-exhaustive list of restricted items, things that cannot be shipped or shouldn't be shipped for that matter, right? So you want to also remember that some providers may allow you to ship usually restricted items, but they will require some extra paperwork and fees, right? So you want to take that into consideration as you evaluate your provider and as you evaluate the products you want to sell also, right? Because when you talk about fees, that eats into your profits. So this is something you need to think about deeply. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We are talking about 12 online business laws you need to know for internet selling. Just going to quickly give you the context of today's conversation. Selling online can make you wealthy, but you must first familiarize yourself with internet law. Legislation covering things like trademarks and patents, the creation of websites, customer privacy, and children's protection can have a sweeping impact on your online business. Once you've assessed your online business idea and have a plan for launching your startup, make sure you research regulations and restrictions that could affect your e-business. Understanding these issues before you start operating will help you plan wisely and save you money, energy, and time. In this show, I'm revealing to you 12 online business laws you must first know for internet selling, whether the sale occurs through an online store or through a direct provision of products and services. Keep in mind, though, that the information provided in today's program, along with the regulations around it, is constantly changing, so you need to keep up with legislation in your particular niche. Now, let's go to number 10. Before we go to number 10, another quick shout out to Darwin Barnes in Lamar's, Iowa, Ashton Anderson, Arbor Hill, Iowa, and Tyler Robinson in Dundee, Iowa. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support. We'd like to give shout out to acknowledge the input and feedback of our millions of viewers and listeners throughout the world, and really appreciate it. Now, rule number 10, business insurance. This is an important legal aspect you need to pay attention to. There are multiple types of insurance for small businesses, right? I'm talking here home-based insurance, general liability, product liability, professional liability, commercial liability. So you want to reach out to your local provider to find, you want to reach out to your local sales agent, insurance sales agent, to find out which type will be best for your business and location, right? So one thing that I always emphasize is to look at product liability insurance. Now, this is important because this kind of insurance covers companies that manufacture, wholesale, distribute, and retail a product and therefore may be liable for its safety, right? Another thing you want to do here is that you want to pay attention to another type of insurance you want to pay attention to is professional liability insurance. Sometimes it's called errors and omissions insurance, E&O. Now, this protects your business against malpractice, negligence, or error. So this is kind of important. Now, law number 11 that you need to pay attention to, PCI compliance. Now, PCI stands for Payment Card Industry. So PCI compliance basically refers to the technical and operational standards that businesses must follow to ensure that credit card data provided by cardholders is protected. Okay, so people, and this applies also to debit cards. As long as you have the MasterCard, Visa, the Amex or Discover sort of logo on it, it could be a debit or a credit card, right? But the PCI compliance is very important because online people are not paying you in cash, right? They're using a card, a credit card or debit card. So you got to be very, very important there. So PCI compliance is a necessary protection for online sellers. And nearly all SaaS e-commerce platforms have it baked in to some degree. So one thing you want to do here is that understand, if you want to sell directly from your website, that the website is built in a way that it is PCI compliant. If you're going to an e-commerce platform, online store provider or builder, or like Shopify or another type, you want to make sure they have that, right? Now, the thing here is that online businesses tend to be prime targets for data thefts. And this is the reason why authorities and e-commerce providers, for that matter, take it so seriously. All right. So, PCI compliance means, among other things, that you're providing a secure, encrypted checkout experience for your clients. All right. And number 12, social media compliance. This is very important, right? There are also individual platform requirements that you may need to be aware of before starting your business. The thing is that even if you have an online store or you're selling directly from your website, chances are, given the prominence and given the ubiquity of a social network like Facebook or YouTube, you might need to advertise or sell through those platforms. So it is important that you comply with the regulations or the restrictions or the guidelines that the websites, the social networks have put forward, right? Especially Facebook. You want to read Facebook terms of conditions very well, because this could affect your profits if they decide to shut down your account, or something happened and they want to sue you, or clients sue them and they sue you back, this kind of stuff, right? So you want to make sure that you comply with social media guidelines. All right, I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. Today I've talked to you about 12 online business laws you need to know for internet selling. Let's quickly recap this here. Before I do this, again, I want to give a shout out. I want to acknowledge our beautiful listeners and viewers all over the world, specifically in the United States. And today we have 3 folk from Alaska: Ruben Jackson in Coquitlam, Alaska; Alfie Bars in Biorca, Alaska; and Rice John in King Sullivan, Alaska. Thank you so much, Ruben, Alfie, and Rice. What are the 12 online business laws you need to know for internet selling? Number 1, trademarks, copyrights, and patent. 2, sales taxes. 3, financial reporting. 4, payment gateways. 5. Inventory. 6. Age restrictions. 7. Local laws and regulations. 8. Licenses and permits. 9. Shipping restrictions. 10. Business insurance. 11. PCI compliance. 12. Social media compliance. Now, of course, the idea here is not for you to become an expert and have a PhD in any of those laws, right? The idea is to surround yourself with people who can help you, with lawyers, with accountants, with tax specialists, right? That's the idea. Now, in every show, at the end of every show, I like to give a special call to action, and today's call to action is indeed special. If you're interested in selling online, here are a few steps you must follow. Choose a business structure. This is important, right? You want to identify what kind of structure you want for your business, whether it is an LLC, limited liability company, a partnership, limited partnership, a corporation. You have S Corp and C Corp. We have a whole show about that. So choose a business structure. Decide where to form your business. You know, you don't have to form the business in the state where you live in. You can form it elsewhere. Choose a name and get a domain name. Choose a name for the business and get a domain name. Hire a lawyer to handle your incorporation process and file your business formation papers. Now, again, this is something that you can do yourself, but it's just better to spend a couple of $100, depending on your business, $100 to have someone, have a professional file it for you. Set up your finances. Next, understand sales tax as well as licensing requirements and other restrictions, right? I spoke about the dangerous materials as well as products and services that target children. You want to be extra cautious there. Set up your website and sign up with an online store platform. Again, it might be better, depending on your situation, to just outsource everything to an online store provider, right? So that you can focus on selling as opposed to focusing on the technicalities of encryption, of security on your website, that kind of stuff, right? And the last thing you want to think about here is create business pages on at least 2 social media, depending on your niche, right? So you have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn. So you want to create business pages on at least 2 social media. 1 is a little too little, if you will, but 2 is just the perfect. 2 or 3 is just the perfect number. And most successful entrepreneurs always have a presence on Facebook, right? So the next one, besides Facebook, you can choose whether you want to go with YouTube or Instagram or Twitter. That's depend on you. That depends on your niche and the products and services you're selling. All right, folks. This is really about it. Well, I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Here's today's pro tip. Run your online business as you would a normal physical company with an actual office. As long as you deliver impeccable service and high quality products, customers generally won't care whether you run the business from your bedroom or basement. Good luck, and I will see you next time. Be marvelous.